Hi pals, it's me, Artie, they them pronouns only, and I am finally continuing the Dawson's Creek watch and media analysis with me video. It's a long one, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, watch my other videos and share my videos. It all really helps. We made it to 1k subscribers. Anyway, Jesus, anyway, enjoy the video. Finally done watching seasons 1 to 4 of Dawson's Creek. So now I'm on to season 5 to make a video. Finally, we're here. We are here. So we ended season 4 with Joey and Pacey have broken up. Joey and Dawson kissed again. Dawson has a baby sister. Jack was kind of dating the blonde gay guy. And then Jen found out her dad was a paedophile. Basically. Or just like a terrible, terrible man, depending on how you look at it. But he was sleeping with the probably underage next door neighbour in New York. And that's basically why Jen went off the rails even more. As I try to work out a new kind of setup for my videos, because I have this kneeling chair now, I am a lot higher up than, well, 1, usual, but also 2, than I thought I would be. So I don't really know quite what to do. And also my eyes are just crying. I think I need some hay fever tablets. It is also warm, but raining again. Everything feels horrible. And now whatever I've done with this, I just now don't even fit in the frame. Doesn't matter what position I'm in, my sciatica is being horrible to me. Basically. But yeah, like the general wrap up of rewatching seasons 1 through 4 of Dawson's Creek was Dawson is still extremely frustrating to watch as a character. I do enjoy some of the things written into the script around writing and filmmaking that feels kind of fourth wall breaking. I didn't really fully appreciate when I watched it the first couple of times, because I mean, knowing now that the writer of Dawson's Creek is Dawson makes a lot of sense, obviously. I think that's like quite a well-known fact anyway, but it just didn't really click with me. But it's almost like, in some ways, those lines coming out of the characters that aren't Dawson in particular, it partly feels like him taking the piss out of his younger self, but also a bit of like his characters taking the piss out of him, that I just find quite amusing in a particular way. But yeah, so I've watched the first episode of season 5 now in full. I love Busy Phillips. Like, I really don't think she was in enough good things. Like, the only things that I really liked her in was this, Dawson's Creek, and Freaks and Geeks, which only had 1 season because I think season 2 just never got renewed, but also like I think the idea for season 2 was kind of shit. And like, I do really enjoy her character in Dawson's Creek. I obviously don't remember a lot of it. It's been a while since I did my first watch of seasons 5 and 6. I do remember she's obviously annoying and complex and very privileged, but I do remember liking her quite a lot and liking her with Pacey. Yeah, I had completely forgotten about the thing that she opens up to Joe about towards the end of the first episode, when they finally get Joey to go out to a party for once. That she gets with loads of guys now because she had to leave her high school boyfriend behind because she knew it wouldn't work out. They weren't going to the same universities or whatever, so she decided the best idea was to kind of just cut him loose, but it was like the most painful decision she's ever had to make. I had completely forgotten about that. Also featuring Chad Michael Murray. What does he do now? You know what I mean? He was in like everything in the early 2000s and then just disappeared. What happened to that man? Is he good? So okay. I do remember that his character sucks balls though, which it is also seems to be kind of just a Chad Michael Murray like typecasting. Is that he knows how to sweet talk and he's known as the hot guy and everybody wants him, but he doesn't want anybody except from one particular person because he can't have them. Manages to sweet talk them round and then destroys everything. And then yeah, Dawson being in LA initially and experiencing the reality of Hollywood, sellouts and abusive people working everywhere, and then calls that shit out and gets fired. And then just Pacey being back but living, I guess he's living on the boat that he was working on over the holiday, over the summer break. But he just doesn't want anyone to know. It's just that only Jen knows. And then yeah, the usual of, you know, Jack is gay. And he's gay, but never really gets a boyfriend. What happened to his blonde glasses boyfriend? A lot of the times stuff is just not really fully wrapped up, and it's just like, I don't know, there's definitely a lot of things where I'm just like, that is very bizarre and makes no sense, or we've never heard about them again or heard from them again. Because I mean, like, the whole of season 4 was revolving around the things that Pacey's sister gets involved with. Can't remember her fucking name now for the life of me. And then she never appears ever again, I'm pretty sure, right? I mean, like, obviously Pacey doesn't get on with his family, but he does get along with that sister. But then his brother comes back, at least definitely at the very end. I can't remember if he comes back sporadically or whatever through the next couple of seasons. Because I'm now on Joey and Pacey Tumblr. Active fandom, slay. I read on there about how the two actors also dated for a while during the show, which is why their like romance and chemistry was so good. After they broke up, they still remained really good friends. And both of them fought for them two to be endgame of like at least the original series. I don't know about the spin-off still. But they both fought for those two to be endgame rather than was obviously planned, which was Dawson and Joey, because they do just have way more in common. They had way more compelling difficulties, troubles, and relationship. They actually had a relationship, whereas I feel like every time Joey and Dawson get together, they just never have a relationship. The first time they got together was like for a few months as like quite young teenagers, and then there's this weird bit between like just as their school year finishes and they've graduated from high school into the first semester of university of first year, they've like barely even seen each other. My sciatica hurts so much sitting here and I want to die. Okay, already have thoughts. One is I've been thinking about this during my rewatch anyway. How similar Joey's character in this is to Maeve Wiley in Sex Education. And one of the things that really shines through of that in literally the start of this season is obviously she's at this big fancy American school taking writing. I already know that she becomes a writer at the end of this all stuff. And like both of them are not used to getting lower grades, so like she gets a C on her like one of her first assignments, so she's talking to her professor about how she can make it better, and I don't agree with his criticism. I don't agree with his critique where he says, oh, your story ends where it should begin, where like her and Dawson kiss at the end of this story that she's written. I don't agree with him. How many books end either at or like just after a first kiss or when the main two characters have finally gotten together? So many. I don't think that's a problem. Especially if there was a particular journey leading to it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents of already having a BA in creative writing. Jack kind of has a mullet, and it's like kind of a sleigh mullet. You know how I do not agree with mullets generally. He can keep that. It's a cute little mullet. I'm down. Why is Joey ringing Dawson on her mobile phone from inside the bathroom at the house party she's at? She could have just gone somewhere quiet outside. Why did she need to take up the bathroom? So Pacey's just been called slacker boyfriend by his trust fund having sort of girlfriend on, like, to do with the boats, whoever she is, in a loving way. However, what a way to say you don't know Pacey at all. And now he's trying to sweet talk the cook of this place to not only give him the dishwasher job, but bring him on as an apprentice as well. Why is it also always just like such a pervert teacher always into their like first year students? The creative writing teacher Joey has is definitely a creep and a weirdo, and I feel like the way they are showing college in America is just complete bullshit. But any Americans out there been to college, fancy college or not, is this accurate? Because it's a little bit concerning that he was just like, yeah, you can do this now and maybe your grade will be better, but you have to give up the time with your boyfriend or what the fuck ever. Like, it's not class, sir. I'm an adult, sir. What the fuck? Wow, bummy. Joey just saw Pacey working in the kitchen on her... oh, Jesus, sorry. On her little girly pop night out at wherever the fuck it is that he's working. Nobody's told her. Nobody's told her. I forgot that was how Mitch died. Probably the stupidest death I ever have seen or could have imagined. Who came up with... Who decided Mitch flicking his ice cream whilst driving and then trying to retrieve it from the floor without pulling over was a dramatic end he deserved? Like, that makes no sense. Either just fucking pull over to sort it out, or leave it there until you get home. Ridiculous, honestly. I don't know what that song is, but a lot of early 2000s shows that I watch now have like really similar or the same soundtracks as Charmed. I mean, like, obviously it's all like American, made in the same sort of period of time. It's usually like especially the sad moments have got the same songs. And I don't know any of these songs, so I might just see if I can look it up, because they slap for like good, like sad as fuck cinematic moments in TV. I've noticed something about the production that's getting on my fucking nerves, mate. Is that when there's like quiet moments between people speaking, it's like they've turned the audio all the way up. Hello, Les. You can chill out for a sec, please. Thank you. It's alright. Like, you can hear, you know, the birds chirping, footsteps really loudly, breathing, and then like, and all the static. My hair's doing weird things after I cut it yesterday, so ignorance foo. We're on one of the saddest episodes of Dawson's Creek, which is Mitch's funeral. So it's Mitch's funeral. One, tell me why Jack's just there in like a jumper. Everyone else looks smart, or like they've made an effort to look nice for the funeral, and he's just showed up in like a dark colour jumper. Don't you have a shirt, Jack? Also, whoever his mum's friend is, who was like, how are you dealing with your grief? It's like, chill. He barely remembers you. Why are you therapizing him in the middle of his house? And like, this is the first time Pacey has seen and spoken to Dawson since summer ended. Even Grams is like, me and God aren't on talking terms this week because, yeah, whilst I'd usually say he has a plan, I don't know, mate. Don't know. I've been leaning on my cheek. Obviously, one of the saddest episodes of, like, the entire show. The way that Pacey took him to the scene where it all happened and explained what happened to try and get him to see that it's not his fault that his dad died. And then the moment where it's just him and his mum, and his mum realises they're out of milk and asks him to, starts asking him to go get some. But it's basically, reliving the exact moment before all of that happened, and she completely has a breakdown. Dawson does go to get the milk and speaks to the, cashier, shopkeeper, whatever, who tells him really nice things that his dad had said about him, which is really important for Dawson because his last memory of his dad was an argument they had over him dropping out of college. Yeah, it's just a really sad episode, but I mean, this is obviously a show that was there to fill in and create all kinds of teenagers of experiences, in like not just the ones that everybody goes through, but also experiences that are less common, so like experiencing the death of a parent, as well as like being the friends of the person going through the thing. I think as well this episode just really nicely illustrates like when you have created your own family that's not necessarily biological, even though Dawson had a really good biological family once they got through like the cheating issues. But like when you create that chosen family, I guess, they for the most part know what you need and know how to respond to you, even if they don't think they do. Because like Jen was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to you because this is horrible, but I'm gonna give you a really long hug and then tell you I love you, and that's it. I think it's like the illustration. Everyone has their own, biological family they have experience with. Whether it's good or bad, you can also have and create your own. My big fan's on because it is 5:15 in the evening, so it's the perfect time for like just all of the day's heat to be in here instead. I was going to film like a proper video, but then I realised the time and the temperature in here is pretty fucking shit. Also, I was just exhausted and I've been trying to like have a little rest, but I'm really wound up. So I thought, hey, seeing as I wanted to film a video today but don't know if I'll have the energy or light to do it, how about going back to, God, my head also hurts, the Dawson's Creek video that I started vlogging for. Because I've had a really bad week, like over a week now technically, I need to rest, but I also just like, I don't know, I feel overwhelmed and I just need something to make me feel like I have accomplished a thing I wanted/needed to do. I've watched 4 episodes so far. How many are there? Because Dawson's Creek episode seasons are long. 23 episodes. Best gets started. I remembered this season differently, like starting differently. So there's a lot of things that are just already very boring in this season. I think for me, a lot of it doesn't really get that interesting until halfway or nearer the end of this season. Mostly because Joey and Pacey aren't together this season, and I'm upset about it, and that's all I care about. Oh my god, I forgot the last episode I commented on was Mitch's funeral! Okay, the one small thing I would take back is the lack of interest in this season. The only thing I think I really like for ages is whoever Busy Phillips plays. She's just like so funny. Why was she not in more things when she was younger, you know? She was so good. Toby has arrived. Toby has shown up. He's shown up to be the homophobic plotline again. Because, yeah, the whole frat is like, well, we don't mind that you're gay. We just don't know anything about gay stuff. But it's cool if you're gay. Toby walks in, everyone's like, sick one, brother. I'm like, please, can everyone just leave Toby alone? He was so annoying and terrible when we first meet him. But he deserves better than this. He deserves better than this. Decided to wash my face and take my makeup off and just use some cleansing oil because my skin has been feeling sad and dry from the weather. But a couple of things I noted. Pacey saying that his mentor, which is the chef guy, cook guy, whatever, is basically just an older version of him, and Jen being like, oh, so your mentor for who you want to be in the future is just an old version of you, which was interesting, especially because I think I remember that the guy does something huge to really disappoint Pacey or fuck up Pacey's life, which I think is going to be like revealed later in the episode. The other thing was Jackie's not very good at setting boundaries or like being able to say no to his frat or whatever they are. And then also every time things run over with the frat, it almost seems like it's on purpose because his boyfriend's in town, so he's always late to seeing Toby for like the few days that he's here. We've just had like this conversation with him and a couple of the other guys trying to get into the frat, whatever that thing's called. Like the really weird incel shit they were all spouting and projecting onto Toby. When obviously Toby's not there, but like when they're talking to Jack, they're like comparing him to their girlfriends, saying that him just showing up before without like pre-planning when he was going to come visit is like checking up on Jack, and he knows that you've got like the pick of the litter here and there's hot guys that you could go for, you're a good looking guy, Jack, blah blah blah. You know, lots of just really straight like gross weird incel shit when it's most likely what Jack first thought it was, that his boyfriend just wanted to surprise him, and that yeah, like the reasons why his boyfriend is upset and pissed off is because he keeps being late or keeps bailing or keeps being interrupted with like their one-on-one time or that sort of thing. Like that stuff pisses me off, and like especially during this period when like cell phones have started to become more normal to just have. Not everybody has one, so Toby doesn't have one, he doesn't want one. In this period of time, you can't really like call people a lot of the time to either find out where they are, tell them you're running late, you know, there's not that ease of communication during this period, and it's sort of like, I don't know, interestingly, it's like the age of technology in this moment for mobile phones is sort of in its transitional period. So is the beginning of this season, that all of the characters are in their new transitional period into being kind of adults but not really adults, and kind of having more free reign to do whatever they like. But yeah, and also, like Jen's just made a huge scene in a restaurant because she thinks the guy she's dating was cheating on her, but it was his sister. However, he's there being like, you gotta learn to trust me, you gotta learn to trust me. I'm pretty sure he cheats on her. And I can't remember if it's like he's always been cheating on her, just been getting away with it and with different people, or whether he just cheats on her once, like closer to when she finds out. And that's the shit I hate. That's the shit I hate. I hate that shit.
But then also, he couldn't call Jen, so does Jen also not have a mobile? Because his plans changed, and that's why she lost her shit. Like, I think technology has changed storytelling a lot. That if you're making stuff nowadays, you have to really actually think about technology more. Whereas, like, back in the early 2000s and beforehand, a lot of technology that we have right now just wasn't a thing then, or was only a thing for, like, businesses or, like, elite rich people. I just find that a lot of, I don't know whether it's the writers or other people who maybe get involved in the writing process of a lot of shows and films, but like, whoever it is, a lot of them are just lazy. I remember having this conversation with somebody about a film series that, like, the way they incorporated the mobile phone was just like bullshit and lazy. And like, there are so many ways that you could use this as, like, you know, creating different issues. Yeah, watching these episodes as they're like getting their own mobile phones and not always going to be at home or, you know, in their dorm room or whatever, not going to always be out and about somewhere that has a phone that you can use. Although they probably had more payphones back in this period of time, whereas now most of them don't work in the UK anyway. There's going to be a lot more different communication issues because of the changing dynamics of phones, and also the change of, like, setting for everybody. That, you know, if you don't have a mobile phone, people are going to keep missing you. And like, I don't know if Joey has a phone like for her dorm room or if she has her own mobile phone, but like, imagine if you were in a university dorm room at this period of time, it doesn't have a phone, you also don't have a phone. Like, how are people contacting you? Like, I think probably a lot of people and their families probably sorted out that they would have mobiles because, you know, especially if they're moving quite far away for university, it's sort of the best way to keep in contact with people. Because, like, sure, people wrote letters back in the early 2000s, but like, that's not really the regular kind of contact that we associate nowadays with, like, a phone. I have the big fan and AC on because it is too hot today. Too hot today. This episode, Jen teams up with the guy she's dating's other girlfriend to publicly humiliate him, and I personally stan this choice and the women's solidarity. I think we will never see Toby again. Jack stood him up at the end of the last episode when he was leaving town, and also Jack is in a fight with Jen because he's more interested in his frat house than anything else. So Mans is going down the wrong path. I'm a bit drunk. I've had a bad day, and I've had a lot of my £1 cocktails from Iceland. Joey had the unfortunate experience of meeting Audrey, her roommate's mum, who is a bitch. So stood up to her after the whole of dinner, this woman just being a bitch to Audrey in front of her. I've had a similar experience to that. Standing up to somebody close to me's or friend of mine or whatever's fucked up, nasty parent in front of them. Yeah, slay Joey. I also don't have any manners. I think manners are overrated. However, Dawson came back to visit for, I think, a therapy appointment. He has been avoiding and ignoring Joey the whole time. They bump into each other at whatever party this is that Pacey's throwing for someone. Is it the girl at work? Also, his boss is cheating on his wife. So yeah, the disappointment came immediately. And then so did the disappointment for Jen as well, that yes, he was cheating on her too. Obviously, as I've already discussed that, but like, yeah, those things happened real quick. I thought they took a bit longer to like develop. But no. So yeah, Joey's bumped into Dawson at this party, and he's like, haha, sorry, I meant to call you. Anyway, let me call you now. And he leaves a voicemail message right in front of her. At first it's fine and funny, and then he's like, yeah, maybe my dad would still be alive if it wasn't for you. Anyway, bye. And he just fucks off. And it's like, sir, I know you're drunk and traumatized and dealing with a lot of grief. Pardon me, but it's literally not her fault at all. Why, like, I wasn't here when he was talking about it because I was looking for the fly spray. I don't really care what he thinks the reason is, because I genuinely cannot feasibly come up with a reason as to why it would be Joey's fault. I don't know. I think there's just always this very interesting dynamic, particularly between the main three, which is Joey, Dawson, Pacey. The more we progress through the show, the more we see Joey and Pacey sort of coming into their own and growing up, becoming more mature. Yeah, like, fucking shit up. Obviously, they are not perfect. They are very, amazingly crafted characters. But, you see the weight of their past on their shoulders anyway, and how that has affected them, and how that has affected how they are looking at their future and dealing with their present. But then when it comes to Dawson, he's just kind of always permanently the only child's vibes, and I'm an only child, so I really am roasting him in particular. But he, even though he's now not an only child, no matter what anybody else does or what else he goes through with other people, he is just always throwing his toys out the pram. Like, he is the most privileged one out of the three of them, and he can't keep his shit together, ever, because he's never had to. The worst that's happened to him is literally his father has died. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to him, ever. He's never had anything systemically shitty happen to him like the other two have. Joey's mum died when she was really young, and her dad went to prison, so she was brought up by her older sister, who was barely an adult, as well as her older sister having a relationship and getting pregnant with the only black guy, especially for this period of time, created a lot of stigma, as well as all the other stigma of their dad being a criminal and such forth. So they are, I don't even know if I would even class them as working class, because Joey, throughout being a child, has had to work just to sort of get by, not even for her own money, but to help everybody in her household manage. And I feel you can see in these later seasons that that's really created a very intense sense of justice and morality, but also a genuine kindness that isn't always easy to get to. This is one of the traits I relate to in Joey, is that a lot of her initial responses are very guarded, sarcastic, defensive, a wall is up, skeptical. But when you get to know Joey, and me, babes, she's a very kind, caring and considerate friend. She notices the small things going on with her closer friendships. And then of course Pacey is more working class. He's I don't even know how many siblings he has, 3 or 4. So he's the youngest of 4, 5 children, I don't know. His dad's always been kind of a dick, very distant, not the kind of loving, kind parent that Mitch was to Dawson. Pacey was always the fuck up. He never had any real support. A lot of his potential was lost and wasted, which then continues his own sort of systemic oppression of not being, traditionally intellectual or whatever. I feel both of them do not respect authority, whereas Dawson is still doing so much of that growing, at least still in this season. He's just so annoying. And then I feel like Jen is almost skipping ahead by a bunch of years, that she kind of already wants to be fully grown up and settled down because she's already lived her life. But Jack is the reverse, where he hasn't really been able to live his life because, one, he was in the closet for a really long time. Two, he's not had like the most supportive like father. And three, he's had like a lot of trouble at home that meant that he couldn't just, go and let loose. There were other people and other problems, and also like obviously the death of his brother too. There were other problems in his family that overshadowed his ability to like just go out and be a stupid kid. So yeah, I feel like a lot of they have like their micro groups in the whole group, and they all kind of shadow each other in a lot of ways, mirror each other, of like the opposites. Because as well, I think Audrey is as well like a massive opposite to Joey. She has a lot of money, a lot of privilege, but she caused so much trouble. She's similar to Pacey in those sorts of ways, including having like a really critical parent. And maybe that's why they all get along so well, and then maybe that's why in the end it doesn't work out with Pacey and Audrey, because they are too similar, that there isn't a lot of growing to do together when they are the same. Besides the fact she has loads of money, like her family has loads of money, he doesn't have that. Whereas, yeah, when him and Joey are together, they both have things to learn and grow from each other, and that's why when they're like a little group as like the three of them, there's always so much drama and bullshit because they're all still so different. Yeah, that's my thoughts so far. Okay, playing a little bit of catch up. Dawson finally lost his virginity to Jen, of all people. And like, they've decided they're gonna be together, I guess. I thought they said no, but like, they rocked up at Grams' house like a couple. Then we had a filler episode of like scary stories and stuff for Halloween. Slay. Hey yo. Me. No, come here. What? You just burp. Oh no, I burped. So yeah, they've turned up to Grams' house in this episode, seeming very together. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, seeming very, like, together, not just, like, sexually. And it's the one day that everyone's like, oh yeah, we promised to do weekly dinners on a Sunday, and we just haven't been doing it, so we're gonna make up for it today. So we've got Joey, Jack, Pacey, and Audrey already there as Dawson and Jen walk in, snogging. And the different reactions from everyone is interesting. Audrey's the main one who's just like shocked and confused, like overtly. She's like, hi, Pacey made rice, and just looks appalled at me. I would absolutely beat Audrey in that situation. Joey obviously just looks shocked and surprised. Who wouldn't look shocked and surprised when the guy that you're sort of seeing, sort of dating, sort of might have a thing with, until his dad died, has gone and slept with one of your friend group? Jack is just grinning. Pacey starts off grinning, but definitely has like a little side look at Joey. But yeah, like, it's just wild. This guy who has been so wound up over the years at all of these other people forever changing their mind or not wanting to be with him or wanting to go slow or whatever. And he's supposed to have been, like I said, sort of, like, there was no official announcement, but like it was sort of understood that him and Joey were supposed to be navigating the waters of being adults, being long distance, romantically. And he goes away for a weekend with Jen after all the other times he spent this season with Joey and, like, just being an asshole. Which, like, I can understand because his dad's died, but why is he only an asshole to Joey and won't talk to Joey about anything now? but has been confiding in Jen quite happily. And Joey's pretending that she doesn't care, but she also didn't realise that they'd actually slept together until he's pulled her aside to sort of like say so. And she's like, yeah, let's just not make it into a thing. We're all different people now. Let's just like not make it into a thing. Anyway, moving on. And I'm like, yeah, please don't spend any time upset with this man. I'm obsessed with Audrey in a situation trying to tell Joey she has the right to feel any way that she feels. Because Joey's like, I wouldn't have the right to feel upset about this because Dawson's dad died. As if that's actually relevant to this one particular instance. But slay for Audrey, being like, no, you have the right to say and feel whatever the fuck you want, bitch. Someone needs to tell Joey that. Jesus. Dawson's at the Boston Film School with the most unbearable shit of a human ever. Jen was going to lose her radio job? Question mark? Is she being paid or is this just a student thing? Why does she have a producer, you know? Because she was too, to be fair, proper cringe and gross and like lovey-dovey instead of the bitter, funny bitch that everyone enjoyed listening to because she got the advice show or some shit. Pacey gave up his job opportunity of going abroad again, sailing, to stay where he was. As I was watching that episode, I was like, yeah, but Pacey, the only reason why you've been, waiting to do that again is because you were always running away from something, or you didn't have like roots or a life. And that he literally then said the same thing at the end of the episode. I was like, see, Pacey, I know you. Joey started dating a guy, or she was gonna, until she double booked herself and decided to go to her teacher's party. Is that a real thing in America? Because in a lot of TV shows and films around American university, the teachers always live like near or on campus. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the same for, oh my god, what was that show called? The one about the murders. Like, she lived on or near campus. This guy lives near campus. But like, why do they always live so close and throw parties for their students? Like, sure, in my third year, in my final year at university, not my first, we would go to the pub with our lecturers. Not often. I don't think any of my lecturers lived that close to campus. Yeah, anyway, so she snogged her teacher, which I couldn't remember if that definitely happened or not, but he has the vibe, you know? True disappointment. I just need more shows and films where the student turns down and like violently shames these lecturers for doing what they're doing, because it's creepy. Stop it. Or like high school student, because Pacey, which he makes a joke about in reference to, so you were like 15, if that. Jack is flunking out. Is it just because he's been trying to fit in so badly with the fraternity? Is it also because he's having problems with Jen and that's why he moved out and into the frat house? But either way, he's on academic probation and his frat got pissy with him, and he gets pissy back. And I'm like, well, dude, of course they're gonna be concerned about the fraternity if your grades are shit. But then they start being homophobic and then they start throwing hands, and I'm like, who's surprised? Really not me. Dawson is now thinking about directing other people's writing, and it's like he was on this weird high horse of like, no, I only ever want to direct my own writing. I only want to direct stuff I write. And it's like, really? Okay. And yeah, through all of that, I've been painting. It's on a canvas. I think I found this in a charity shop for £1, and I've realised I actually bought a few this size brand new a while back. But either way, it's not done, but like, this is what I do when I watch like TV shows that I don't necessarily always have to keep my eyes on the screen or like things I've seen before, because I can still follow along and like watch for breaks and stuff, but I like to do things with my hands. Hands. That took me a really long time to realise what I'd said. Hands. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on painting and watching this. I don't know what's up with Jack, especially, yeah, like they keep saying, oh, you were like a straight A student, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, so I don't understand how he's failing. Surely you could do bare minimum and get like a C if you're so used to getting straight A's when you were in high school. Whatever. It is so warm. Ignore this. It is so hot right now. I forgot that there was an episode where Jack takes Pacey to a gay bar. Hello, yes, there's nothing on there. It's all painting. Yo, you're nice. You're nice. Oof. Are you right? So yeah, I forgot that was ever a thing. It was also just so funny. They were like, oh yeah, I know a place that doesn't card. And then it just looked like the most dull gay bar I've ever seen in my life. Like, Pacey was straight up like, oh yeah, it's a great place. The only complaint I have is there's a lot of men here. Every gay pub or bar I know will let you know it's gay. And not just by looking at how many men or just women there are in the place. Yeah, he's talking to a guy and doesn't realise that, oh, the guy probably thinks he's gay because he's in a fucking gay bar. And like, I don't understand this. He's talking to this guy because he's like a really famous food critic. He's like, I'm this close to getting him to come and review my restaurant. And I'm like, mate, it's not your restaurant. You're just some guy that works there. It is not your restaurant. Why do you care this much about some random restaurant getting a good review and getting more customers? Yeah, you know, like, it just didn't add up. And Jack was like, you've got to tell him that you're not gay. Because he probably thinks you're gay, and that's the only reason why he's even listening to you going on about this restaurant. So they went over together, and Pacey still couldn't actually say, oh, I'm not gay. He's like, oh, not available. And then they pretend that Pacey pretends that him and Jack are together. And the guy gives Jack his card that in case they break up. And Pacey is like, I feel like I should be offended on so many levels. And Jack's like, you're not gay and we're not together. He's like, yeah, but we thought he was into me. But not only is he not into me, he's also trying to take my boyfriend. So that was amusing. Also, this episode, Joey has gone with Dawson to some film thing. Seen her teacher there, who has basically broken up with her, with his probably wife that he mentioned earlier in the season, and then pretended he says as a lie. And then, because Dawson's gone there with Joey, Jen's gone a bit weird about it, and she's like, I wish we just had a clean slate. And it's like, oh my god, how many times are you all gonna have the same fucking conversation and the same concerns? Stop dating each other. How about that? Stop fucking dating each other. Wild, I know. Wow. But also, everyone's been like spending a lot more one-on-one time with Joey because she got mugged in the last episode, and everyone's, I don't know, feeling bad about it. That was something I noticed as well. I think not that episode, I think maybe the one before. Basically all working together to make that film. The only people who weren't there were Jack and Joey, because Jack is that's the whole thing as well. Jack is now not in his fraternity anymore because his roommate basically came out as gay to Jack, but then went and told the fraternity that Jack tried to kiss him. And because they just believed that, Jack was like, you know what? Fuck yourselves. You all suck. Anyway, bye. And then had this whole speech to the gay guy who is lying and in the closet. Anyway, derailed now. So yeah, at that point in time, he was still like frat guy and was still quite separate from the others. I thought it was weird though that they didn't include Joey at any point, because like they had Pacey as the sound guy, like the boom mic operator, whatever. Obviously Dawson as the director, Jen, I guess, a producer. She was doing the clappy thing. You know, like everyone was there except Joey, and Joey's always like been making films with them, so it was just really strange that they didn't like invite her, or maybe they didn't because Jen's being weird about Joey now for some reason, when they have no actual reason to be weird about it. Because also Joey admitted that once those two had gotten together, actually she was relieved that she didn't actually want to be with Dawson anyway, and I was like, thank God. Thank God. Stop. I don't know if I actually updated the last lot of episodes I watched, and I can't remember what happened, to be honest. The last couple of episodes I watched today, I could not recall these episodes. I didn't remember that they actually had a spring break and that they went away to Florida for their spring break. Oh, and then Audrey's amazing high school boyfriend, who's now a Hollywood superstar, appeared. But everything's fine because she likes Pacey. She loves Pacey. XOXO. And then the weirdness of Joey and, was his name Charlie? Like not officially seeing each other, but like him pursuing her for ages. And when she kind of is like, fine, okay then. Wow. He's like, oh, I've been offered like this massive opportunity, the biggest opportunity of my life, but I love you more than anything. And it's like, what? Sir, what you doing? Don't do that. Pacey's workplace has been bought and his boss has fucked off. He has a new boss who is an older sexy lady. Not like, I don't know how old she actually is, but they say, oh, she's not that much older than us. But like, if you are in this job role, you're either a nepo baby or old. And she's like heavily pursuing Pacey, knowing he has a girlfriend, and also knowing that she's literally his boss. But he doesn't try that hard, really, to deter her. Like, she's extremely inappropriate multiple times, and he's just like, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And she's like, well, what about the alcohol? And he's like, I guess so, between friends. Audrey sees and she's pissed, so she's like, fuck you, Pacey. And I'm like, yeah, you go girly, pussy slave queen bitch. Because like Pacey told Jack originally, and Jack was like, that's sexual harassment, she's your boss, that's sexual harassment. And Audrey says like, if you really didn't like it, you could have stopped it, because he could have reported her. And obviously in the real world it's more complex than that, especially if you're a man being sexually harassed, even less likely to be believed. She was like, but you didn't put a stop to it because you like it. And in this circumstance, that is true. He goes back up to his boss and he gives in and gives her like a proper kiss. And she's like, okay, we need to stop now, it's inappropriate. All I needed was to know that we could, that's enough. And he's like, what? Get out, man, get out. Dawson went on a road trip with the annoying guy from his college, because they had a meeting with some guy who's an agent of some kind, and the guy ruins the whole meeting, but Dawson stays the rest of the day to try and convince this man to give him another shot. So he may or may not have an agent. And then he comes home and he's like, oh, I miss Joey, I love Joey, I want to go be with Joey, because he's just spent the whole trip telling his annoying classmate about his whole life story and him and Joey and what's happened, blah blah blah. And Pacey's like, please fucking stop doing that. Please stop doing that. You and Joey need to fucking stop doing this. I'm like, yes, you need to stop doing this. Break the cycle, bitch. Been there, gotta break the cycle, bitch. Stop it. So then he goes to see a movie, meets the film critic that he saw a while ago. They have sex. God knows how old she is, because this lot are 19. She's like, you need to go and find the girl. You need to go back to her. So he's back. Back on the Joey train. Jack is fighting for his life, trying to ace his exams just to be able to stay in college. Also, when they were on break, he got so drunk he jumped off the roof, luckily into the swimming pool, and didn't die. But that boy is not well. Haven't seen much of Jen. She was ill during their spring break, and I just haven't seen her in the most recent episode, I don't think. And then he goes to his frat house, his ex-frat house, hoping that they might have grown as people. They have not. To just at least help him ace his exams so he can try to get back on the right path. Like, he's been going through this process in his brain of like, how did I get here? People keep shoving in his face like, you were acing all of your exams and all of like your classes in high school. What's happened? And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm dysfunctional. Have you looked at my family? And I'm gay. And then the only one who actually takes any pity on him is the guy who's gay, who got him in trouble and got him thrown out of the frat house. Hopefully he passes his exams. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure season 6 is not like the rest of college. There's definitely like parts where it was further down the line in their lives. But this season is nearly done. Like, I'm on episode 21 or something like that. It's the one I've just watched. The season's nearly over and they have barely, like, they're just about to finish their like first year of college. And I remember like more adult things, but I also remember more college things. So I don't really know what's coming in this next season. I cannot remember at all. Grams has got a boyfriend now, so she's not around as much. And Joey, for some reason, was also up all night studying the day before, like right up until her exam. For what? And again, people were like, oh, this is what happens when you get a social life, Joey. You get not very good at school. And it's like, she hasn't even got that like much of a intense or crazy social life. What do you mean? And also, what is she studying for? The only class we ever heard her talk about or do is creative writing. What are you studying for? Everyone's just pissing me off. I thought her and Pacey were together for longer though. Do they get, I'm trying to remember like if they get back together. She's still in the friendship group, I think, when Joe and Pacey get back together at some point late season 6. My analysis is the characters are getting on my nerves right now. I also remember seeing a post on Tumblr that was talking about like why I think season 6 was the way it was, and then why also just generally season 5 and 6 had a lot less Dawson in it, because apparently the actor just didn't want to be in it as much. And season 6, generally everyone wanted the show to be over, like all of the actors wanted the show to be like done, the storyline to be done, not carried on anymore. Because I mean, to be fair, from memory, it is just the same cycle of Joey, Pacey, Dawson for the most part, with occasional them dating different people between all of it. And you can only do that for so many fucking seasons. And I still have not watched the reboot. And I don't know if I want to watch the reboot. Like, the reason why, like, you know, everyone was arguing for Pacey and Joey to be endgame for a reason. Because they were the better couple option out of all of them. Jen is dead. Jen's dead. What is happening? Is Grams dead yet? Or is she still Gramsing around? But also, what on earth would they be doing? Do they have children? How messy and terrible would that be? I will catch up again when I've actually finished the season. Bye. Here we go. I think the last episode of this season. It's been 5 years since he left for LA, which was the end of everyone who was at university's first year. Like, we finally putting together my questions I had in the last clip. Sorry, Dawson, that was my boyfriend. Sorry, my fiance actually, who is a lawyer. They're acting and looking so overtly adult, considering they are 1 year out of graduating, if they graduated. It was a fucking dream. It was a dream. I don't know why to have to be over. God, why is everyone like, why so loud? I can't believe Dawson is still trying with Joey. This is why all the actors were done. How many times? However, slay to Joey for turning him down. Please don't go back on your word, because I don't remember what happens. She went after him, but didn't go with him. Thank God. Just like, stop doing it. Stop it. Stop. However, I did really like, generally, the end of the season. Everyone went in their own direction. Jack did end up going to Costa Rica? I don't know. Did end up going to Costa Rica, but with the gay guy who got him thrown out of his frat. Why does our gay always end up with a gay that's done our gay wrong? And like, this is coming from the Adam Stan of sex education. I'm just tired, just tired of it. Only once in a while do I go, you know what, slay, I love them. No, this is terrible. However, live your best life, mate. Jen is going to New York to go make up with her parents, even though her dad is possibly a pedo. Like, why would you want to make up with that? Having an affair with an underage girl, or like maybe barely aged girl. What is there to resolve, man? Resolution is found when you just say bye-bye. Dawson is going back to LA because a producer wants to work with him, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. Pacey is also going to LA with Audrey, but he's driving her now because they finally made up after his sort of cheating, but not cheating, but sort of cheating. Even Grams is going away. She's going to Las Vegas. I don't remember if the series ends with her and Cliff, like, still together, or if Cliff dies, or what. Like, I don't really even remember him. So is he going to be in the next and final season? I don't know. Last but not least, I guess, Joey. She bought a plane ticket to get refunded so she could go and speak to Dawson and tell him she loves him, but she wasn't going to follow him. I'm just scared. I was afraid of never growing up and being 15 years old forever. Then move on. And it, ironically, was one to Paris. And that was a trip she didn't take because of Dawson. Because I think she had just started dating Dawson for the first time when she was given that opportunity. But yeah, so Joey's now finally going to Paris. They're like, oh, it's supposed to be really nice in the spring. And it's like, have you been to Paris? I haven't been in quite a few years. The last time I was there, it was quite disgusting, actually. And my friend who has to go there semi-regularly says it's disgusting too, and still is. But she's finally doing the thing that would have helped her build character as a 14 or 15-year-old at 19 years old, by herself this time. So growth, question mark. I liked the ending to show that everyone's sort of growing up to be their own people. We've definitely been seeing a divide in this season anyway, since everyone started university or whatever it was they had to do next. That, like, Dawson generally is definitely very separated from everybody and occasionally has some attachments to mostly Jen and Joey. Like, he doesn't really keep up with Pacey, doesn't really keep up with Jack. They're just like if his friends of convenience, that when he's around the areas that they're in, that those are his friends. And then obviously we've still got the Jen and Jack duo. I think it's been really interesting to see both Joey and Pacey being drawn to Audrey. I think she's sort of their path back to each other, really, in the end. That she was sort of the one for the further personal development both of them needed to be able to be a real couple as adults in the real world, because she doesn't take anyone's shit, she calls it out, and that's what both of them need, really. Nobody else does it either. Can't remember if it was Pacey's sister in one season. Just never finished that point, but I'm pretty sure it was Pacey's sister that said everyone in their friendship group was too nice and too afraid of like upsetting people, so they just weren't ever telling the truth about anything. Even Grams is off by herself, you know, she's doing her own thing, living her own life, living her second life, you know, after her husband died. Yeah, I think those are my thoughts generally on the end. Thank God it's the end of that season. That was, yeah, a bit of a slog, because it's just a little bit too repetitive. Mainly, we need to move on, you know. So that's the video. If you've made it to the end, congratulations, you are officially either an Artie stan or you're a Dawson's Creek stan. I'm gonna say again, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, watch my videos, share my videos, it all really helps. Now we've reached the 1K, the main focus is on the watch time, so I won't be pissed if you have my videos playing in the background whilst you're doing something else. I can respect that. But that's it for this week, and I will see you next week with hopefully a video that doesn't take as much time to edit and film. Bye.